It is a pleasure to be with you today to commemorate those who made the ultimate sacrifice during Orangeburg Massacre. We will never forget the importance of the historical day, of the impact that had on this community. On behalf of the City Council and me, I want to read this proclamation. In the early 1960s, there were many peaceful civil rights marches and sit-ins at Orangeburg to protest the segregation. And hundreds of young people from Claflin University and South Carolina State University was arrested and incarcerated. Whereas the passage of this Civil Rights Act in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 outlawed segregation and disenfranchisement, whereas the college students led by John Stroman protest an exclusion of African Americans from the All-Star Bowling Lane, and whereas on the night of February 8th, 1968, South Carolina State Highway Patrol opened fire on an unarmed student on the campus of South Carolina State. And whereas it's been 54 years since that tragic night in Orangeburg, and we have made tremendous stride, and we are trying to reconcile and heal from this. And whereas the city of Orangeburg solemnly remembers the sacrifice of those who dedicated themselves to the cause of civil rights of this community and nation. Now, therefore, I, Michael C. Butler, the mayor of the city of Orangeburg, South Carolina, on behalf of the city council and the citizens of Orangeburg, duly proclaim February 8, 2022 as Smith Hammond Middleton Day in the city of Orangeburg. And we want to present this to our president.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. And before I take my seat, I want to especially thank the mayor of Charleston, Mayor Teckenberg, for being here to help us celebrate this day.
God bless you. Thank you.
At this time, again, although we are recognizing what happened 54 years ago, we know that our neighbors in Charleston, South Carolina, suffered tremendous loss a few years ago. Among that loss was one of South Carolina State's very own. One of my friends, Sharonda Singleton, was one of the 9 killed on that day in Charleston. We remembered Charleston during its dark days, and we are honored to have the mayor of Charleston with us today as we remember our dark days. So at this time, Mayor Tecklenburg.
Thank you, Mr. President. And good afternoon, everyone. Bring greetings from the city of Charleston. And I don't know if many of y'all know this, but I'm a graduate of OW, class of 73. And I lived here in Orangeburg during the time of the Orangeburg Massacre. And I must share with you a personal experience. I remember that day and that week. It's blazoned in my own memory. I was only in the 8th grade at the time. And y'all, what a remarkable presentation and testimony from Dr. Sellers we just heard. Wasn't it remarkable? And I was thinking of Congressman John Lewis, whose statue is right here before us and was in Charleston just the other day, because students at the College of Building Arts built the pedestal upon which he stands right now, that he's here on. And they did a great job. You should take a look at it. But I was thinking about Dr. Sellers and the memory from 54 years ago when I was a paper boy for the Times and Democrat. And I would go down every morning and roll my papers and read the articles in the newspaper of interest. And that week, there was nothing but news of how Dr. Sellers, Cleveland Sellers, was a troublemaker. And I think of the words that Congressman Lewis used, God bless his soul, to make good trouble. And that's what Dr. Sellers did, y'all. He made good trouble. And that's what our brothers here, Smith, Hammond, and Middleton, did. They were making good trouble. Did they not? So as that pedestal was made in the city of Charleston, I'm here today for our citizens to tell you, we uplift together. We uplift you and ask you to uplift us. Back to my experience. Can you imagine what it was like in 2015 when I ran for mayor of the city of Charleston, having lived here in 1968, and thinking this kind of thing can never happen again in these United States. We're making progress as a people, right? And we had the Orangeburg Massacre in June of 2015, almost 50 years later. What an irony. Let's keep our eyes on the prize, make good trouble, and be uplifted in the Spirit of God. Thank you very much.
So at this time, we will unveil the monument. If we can, Dr. Falani, where are you? Please. The bus that you see behind me of Smith, Hammond, and Middleton was created by South Carolina State's very own Dr. Falani. Please come forward, sir. On the behalf of the entire university and alums across this country, thank you for capturing the essence of what we remember so vividly. Thank you very much.